So, hi, James.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm all right.
Good. We were just talking about bombing on stage and how humiliating it is. You've done live stage stuff before, I'm sure.
I have, yes.
And do you like it, or do you prefer not to do that?
No, I love it. I love it, yeah.
Have you had a show that you're like, oh, that was awful?
I've had a few things that have been awful.
How do you handle it in the moment?
Most of the things that I've done that I have not liked very much have been on film.
Oh, okay.
You know, I worked on stage when I was a kid a lot. And then when I got older, the choices of things to do on the stage, if you make your living doing pursuing different aspects of an acting career, whether it be film or television or theater, then your choices for theater tend to be more careful or cautious, you know, or at least it used to be that way. Mainly because of the fact that it's a long commitment, and you didn't used to be paid as much as you did in film. That's changed to a certain degree now, but over the years I've worked on things that I didn't think were particularly good, and then there's been things where you thought that they might be great, and you had a great time making it, and then they just turned out awful.
And when you're doing something on film and you don't like it, can you tell in the moment, or is it usually after the project's done? But are you like a guy who will change dialogue or go like, all right, I'll just do it because they tell me to do it?
No, I don't do that. I mean, no matter what I agree to do, I'm going to do my best effort to try and have it. You know, if I'm working for the money, then I work as hard as I possibly can so that I don't feel shame for the fact that I'm doing it for the money.
Okay. You want to just say, hey, I did a great job, even though
I
deep down...
did the best job that I possibly could.
And none of us shook your hand when you came in, because I know you've talked about being OCD. Do you not like shaking hands? We didn't try to, and you refused. We didn't know if we should have or not.
Yeah, I don't know whether whatever obsessive compulsive issues that I have, I don't know whether that's a manifestation in terms of not shaking people's hands very much. But I avoid it to a certain degree because I work on a hour-long TV show, and if I get sick, it's disastrous for the show. You get sick that way a lot.
You do.
You know?
Yeah, it's funny. I like that you've been open about that, because we all have our little things. Like for me, I blink a lot, or I'll tap the middle of my right finger on and it just feels right.
I got a lot of those things too. Yeah.
But there's no reason. There's no reason. All of a sudden, things are wrong.
But that
there they
is
are.
a very
They're good.
clear reason than not shaking. Is, you know,
that at least makes sense.
I just can't get sick. You know.
Yeah.
Have you, with that kind of stuff, I find that as time goes on, sometimes when I'm aware of it, I'm okay with it, and other times it's gotten, when I've fed it, it's gotten worse. Has it spiraled for you?
You can't feed it.
You can't.
I don't think so. You have to try and figure a way to work through that, maybe. I don't know. I don't have a clue. I don't know whether I've been successful at that particularly, you know, but my instinct or intuition is that you probably shouldn't indulge something that you know ultimately is nothing but an indulgence.
Right. When you have those moments, can you work through them and not actually do whatever it is in the moment the OCD is dictating?
Sometimes.
Is there a trick for it? Is there anything you take for it, or no?
I guess I think probably what you mentioned yourself, and that's sort of the intuitive thing to do, which is if you acknowledge it or address it, it's sort of the same as anxiety, really. You know, if you sort of acknowledge anxiety and think about what it is that might be leading to that, the root of that anxiety, just addressing it helps. Sort of dissipates it.
Right.
We were talking about stage anxiety before, too. Like, we get these things doing stand-up where I can't breathe. And it's just fear.
It's fear.
It's being afraid.
But it's good. It's a healthy fear. 10 seconds. Because as soon as your hand touches that microphone and you go, what's happening? The fear goes away and you see a little clarity.
It does?
You hope it does.
When you laugh, once you hear the laughter and I touch the microphone and that initial force of energy comes out, that's that fear.
Unless they don't laugh, then it's like, oh boy, you were right to be afraid.
God.
You stink
It
at
just
this.
goes deeper and deeper and deeper. But it's funny, I was in Texas one time, Mr. Spader, and the guy touched me, shook my hand. You ever shake somebody's hand and you know it's dirty?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. And he shook it.
Every woman
and then
I've
he
slept
stood
with.
there next to his wife. They look like the Addams family. There's three of them. And he goes, can we take a picture? And I go, sure. And he just stood next to me. I go, you don't have a camera? He goes, no. I go, so if we take a picture, how am I going to? He goes, I don't even have a computer either. So I go, well, you just want to take a picture? He goes, I just want to take a picture. That's
They're
it.
just weird people, right?
With dirty hands. It drove me crazy. And I travel, and I have the same fear, because sometimes after a show, I go outside to smoke pot, and there'll be somebody that can I smoke pot, and I got to tell them no. Because God knows, after they smoke pot with you, that's when they drop that they just had bronchitis. I was at the store one night, and some guy's like, listen to my 3-year-old daughter. I was smoking one night with a guy, and after 10 minutes, he goes, that'll work out. Look at me. I've lived with this HIV for years. And I said, but that's the selfishness of people. It didn't affect me. I'm still alive and ticking.
Sure.
But that's why.
That he didn't tell you before.
I don't have OCD. I'm just like yourself, because a plane ride will take us into, you get on a plane ride, you got to drink water the whole time, so you're always careful.
Yeah, the worst is when you give a homeless guy money and he goes, hey, man, put her there. And you're like, God.
The excuse I always use if a homeless guy tries to shake is like, no, fist bump, because if the cops see us shaking, they'll think you're passing me something. And they tend to accept that. But I've learned that years ago. Like, just don't. You don't want to shake with a guy who's just been rifling through the trash,
Years ago?
Yeah.
Did you grow up here in New York, Mr. Spader?
No, I grew up in Massachusetts. I moved here when I was 17. I dropped out of school and moved to New York when I was 17.
And that's when you did the theater here?
Yeah, and also just did a show just a few years ago. I had finished a TV show that shot in Los Angeles that had gone for, 6 or 7 years, something like that. And I was sort of looking for the antidote to that, And David Mamet sent me a new play of his. And so during the 2009 and 2010 season, I was doing another play on Broadway. And it was great fun. It was really great fun.
What did you want to do before you acted?
All things that came out of make-believe, really. Everything that I was interested in doing were all things like, being a private detective or being a gangster or being a cop. Or being, they're all things that, like, as a kid, you sort of make believe you're doing. And as an adult, I wanted to do that. But, I worked something like 30 sort of odd jobs or manual labor jobs when I first dropped out of school. And then eventually started earning a living as an actor, and that's what I do now. But it's funny, you were talking about stage fright, and I've never experienced that. I've never felt any stage fright.
Some people have that. They're more comfortable on stage.
I don't. It's not that I feel more comfortable on stage. I just don't feel any anxiety about that. I feel more anxiety about sort of press things, talk shows and things like that. I'll feel anxiety about, but I don't know if it's really stage fright or I'm not sure what it is. But I've never felt it at all in terms of doing theater, or I just have never felt that.
How about in front of a camera or with you don't get it there either?
No.
Is that just because I admire that? That's really hard to get to that place, and if you're at that place naturally,
I don't even think. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I don't think it was not getting there.
Just a natural being for you.
Yeah.
So, when is it a confidence thing, or is it?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't think about it. You don't get that split second when they go on the marks, Mr. Spader. On your marks, and you put on thing.
No.
And then, and the guy comes over, scene 64. I get a little something there, especially if it's somebody of your caliber or something. I'm looking at you, and all I can think about is you as an attorney in Wall Street going, and what is one going to do for moi? And then you put your feet up. I'm still living that scene. What is one going to do for moi?
Yeah, you played, we talked before you came in, I
don't know, I feel like if your head's in the thing you're doing,
Right.
It's like there isn't any... I think stage fright requires a certain amount of objectivity. You have to be sort of you have to be one step removed for you to feel sort of a stage fright. If your head is just in the thing that you're doing, then you believe the fact that you're in the set of circumstances and the camera doesn't exist, this doesn't exist, there is no mark, you're just... having this interaction with the people you're having an interaction with.
So you're never afraid you're going to make choices that the director goes, stop doing that. You just do what you want to do.
No. I mean, I want to serve the piece, so I want to serve the material and also serve what the writer intends and what the director intends and so on. So I'm not at cross purposes with them at all.
No, I didn't ask that properly. I asked that wrong. I meant to say that, like, you're not afraid that they're going to say
that I'm going to let them down in some way or something.
Yeah, like if they tell you to do something, you'll do it, but you're not afraid that I'm going to make a choice.
I'm going to do my best, and if I am not able to do what they want me to do, I'm sorry for that. But they are going to know that I'm doing the absolute best that I can, and if it's something that's slightly different from what they might have thought of or expected or something, it's still going to be the best of what I can do, and sometimes it's a very pleasant surprise. I've worked with people a lot where they've told me after that they really hadn't thought of the role or in that fashion, but it was a pleasant surprise, and I think that can work too. I think either of those two things are the acceptable result.
Right.
To either come in and give them exactly what they want, or to give them something that is surprising and different from what they wanted, but they like it as much, if not more so. And ultimately, if I can satisfy either of those two things, then I've done my job, I think.